AIG boss Ben Moshe had wanted a big premium for the firm's AIA Asian unit. Now he's named a new top executive to that division with the hopes of a big IPO. Question is, will the market cooperate? We partner with the FT to bring you Lex on Bloomberg so you can get a sneak peek at the FT's flagship column a day early. Ben McLannahan joins me now live from Hong Kong. Ben, it looks like Tucker used to run Prudential, the same firm that was trying to buy AIA from AIG. So what does his appointment mean?
Well, his appointment means that Ben Moshe is trying to make a clean break between the guy who used to run the Asian operation, that's Mark Wilson, and the new guy, ahead of selling a big stake on the market in the third or fourth quarter. I mean, the new guy, Mark Tucker, comes with a very good reputation. He spent about 10 years out here in Hong Kong running the Asian arm, then went back to London to head Prudential and did a pretty good job there. The shares were up 35% in his tenure, and they managed to close the gap with Aviva, the historical big rival. But the big question for me is why he needs to go in the first place. I think this is a personality clash with Ben Moshe. Ben Moshe, of course, was in favour of selling the whole thing to Prudential for $35 billion, later moderated down to 30.4. He saw Wilson as an obstacle in that, and so he's had to give way.
Not just Wilson as the obstacle, but the former chairman as well, who was forced to resign or ended up resigning because of Ben Moshe. What are the IPO prospects for AIA then? You mentioned that the IPO would be the next step.
Yeah, that's right. It's inevitable now. It's unlikely that anyone's going to come forward with $30 billion plus to spend on this. And remember, that's the benchmark now that Ben Moshe must achieve to create a better deal for the US taxpayer than what was put on the table by Prudential just a few months ago. And this is tricky markets to launch any big deal into. If you look at Agbank, Agricultural Bank of China, which launched in 2 stages in Shanghai and Hong Kong last week, in both cases the first day bounces were underwhelming. And so that does question the real appetite out there for a deal of this size.
Sure, definitely. Does Mark Tucker's appointment mean that Prudential is still in the running potentially? Could we see another AIA sale to Prudential being suggested?
I don't think so. I think that what Mark Tucker brings is a sense of a big hitter and someone who knows the terrain out here and knows how to run a big company to make sure that insurance agents work from the same page.
What does this mean for Prudential's share price and AIG's share price then?
Well, AIG's share price is a strange thing. It doesn't really mean a lot. It's worth about $37.4 billion. But the real value in the company is tied up with the debt that the US government owns. And that's the main thing you really need to look at. You need to look at the CDS price, which when the deal, the sale of AIA was scrapped to Prudential back in the early part of last month. 100 basis points, 200 basis points instantly shot up all the value that it had restored back when the deal was back on the table. So that's what you really need to look at rather than the equity price.
All right, we thank you. Ben McLannahan, FT Lex writer, joining us now from Hong Kong.